Hey, if you're looking to have better problem solving in your meetings, I'm going to help you with that. I'll give you the 5 specific things that you can do to make sure that you've got much, much better meetings, because let's be candid, most meetings suck.
As entrepreneurs and business owners, we know that if we have a clear plan, anything becomes possible. And if you can have a clear plan, a clear process to create that plan, and a way to create clarity with your partner or spouse, you can drive to amazing heights.
All right, I have to say, honestly, I hate most meetings. I'm in meetings all day, but I love meetings that are very effective. And when you have great meetings, man, the whole world changes. Remember, the 3 key things to a great meeting are 1, communication, 2, accountability, and 3, problem solving. Making sure you have frameworks and tools to help you achieve this will make it work. And I'm going to tell you 5 specific reasons why a lot of times, particularly in the problem solving segments of meetings, it sucks. So when you think about problem solving, this is opportunities, challenges. It could be wonderful things, it could be negative things. But this is where most organizations spend the vast majority of their time in their meetings, and all they end up doing is doom loops of discussion. And nobody ever actually gets shit done. They just zone out and just disappear, and they're drone on and on and on with slides and discussions and politics and all sorts of horse shit. So the objective for this is to give you 5 specific reasons, and I've seen this over my many, many years, what happens. Number 1, we're gonna go all the way back to Jim Collins when he talks about the right people in the right seats. If you're in one of those leadership teams that just seems to just churn on everything, you're just like, oh my God, we've gone through this over and over and over and over and over and over. That's actually a symptom of something. And the first 2 pieces that we talk about are the right people in the right seats. So if you're churn, somebody's always curious, they're always asking, I love curiosity. It is absolutely critical. But there are certain people who end up using it as a defense mechanism when they really don't know what the hell they're doing. So they'll just keep wanting to drill on something and drill on something and drill on something. Now, to me, that's the right seat. When people are really good at what they do, they know what they want, they know what should happen, and they're great at it, they're absolute asses in it, they're gonna wade in and say, no, hey, this is what we should do and this is how I wanna handle this. Now, they need to be curious, open to hear feedback from others, but if they, when they know, they know. Now, the second one is the right person. I did these backwards on purpose because most of us can associate easily with that person who's, boy, they're way over their skis. They're outside of their swim lane, and we get frustrated with those people. But it's the people who have values, and these are the people who potentially could be those little terrorists inside our organizations who, boy, they're a good person, but they don't really fit our values. And they're the one who always have the meeting after the meeting. Or they're the ones who are like, yeah, but what about this? Or, oh, how's that gonna happen over here? Or what impact is that gonna have over here? It doesn't mean that we don't need to have those people. We should have those discussions. But if that keeps going in and you keep cycling over and over and over and over in that, sometimes I've seen to where we end up with the wrong person, meaning that it's not their bad person, they just don't share your values. So making sure that you have the right people, they're badasses at what they do, in the right seat is actually going to help you have much, much, much more effective meetings. Now, the third thing is we want to really make sure and you have some sort of a process when you're defining your issue, opportunity, your challenge. And the first thing is figure out, what does success look like? Why are we having this discussion? Is this the right discussion with this group of people? Sounds very simple, but it is amazing how, particularly in entrepreneur-led or founder-led organizations where people are still dealing with shit that they have why on earth did this make it to the executive leadership team, man? This makes no sense. You know what? HR, you handle this. If it blows up, then you come talk to us. If you need our feedback, great. Now, sometimes we do need that, but again, this can go back to the right person, the right seat, making sure that they're good at what they do, but they also have been empowered. We don't want to have those seagull managers, those seagull CEOs who swoop in, hover, crap all over it, and then float away. That's always the worst thing. So we want to be able to make sure, hey, what is the definition of what does success look like for this conversation? Because we want to make sure that when you guys are in your meetings, that problem solving becomes your highest and best use. And when it does, when that happens, I love meetings. They're spectacular. It's amazing how helpful it can be. Now, the fourth thing, once you've defined what success looks like, is let's clearly define accountability. Who owns it? Who at this table is accountable for this issue? Now, I've seen sometimes where they're like, oh, I thought you were. No, back and forth. And what's happening in that case is candidly, you just have a simple structural issue. We're not clear on who's accountable for what. Or you've got a broken process and you're not sure where it's getting fallen through. Actually, what you're doing there is you're actually identifying what the real issue is. You're digging down. There's a great process in the EOS system called IDS. It does a great job with this. But first, you've got to be able to have some of these other components. But when you start to dig down and you define, hey, who is accountable for the issue? Great. Now, what does success look like? Cool. All right. Excellent. Now, what is the issue we're really, really solving? And keep digging. Steal from Mr. Toyota of Toyota Motors when he said, you have to ask why 5 times to get to the root cause of what the true issue is. And then lastly on this, once you know who's clearly accountable for it, you've defined what the issue is figure out a way to move the damn thing forward. Don't let it sit there and percolate and spin and percolate and spin and percolate and spin. I've seen organizations try and solve the same issue for 5 years. It's just wrapped in different clothes. So the final thing that you have to do when you want to start making sure that you're getting better in your problem solving is how do you move this issue forward in some way, shape, or form? I don't care if it's setting a meeting to meet with somebody talk with Steve about this and get it moving forward. But write it down, hold yourselves accountable, and move it forward. Now, as silly as it sounds, if you start just doing these 5 basic things, particularly as the CEO, if you look at your leadership team and say, hey, do I have the right people? Do they share my values? And they're in the right seats so that we have really candid, open meetings that are effective, not doom loops of discussion. Are we clearly defining what is the outcome? Why are we having this issue? What is the outcome we're looking to achieve? Do we know who's accountable for it? And then how is it we're choosing to move it forward each time? So ideally you found some value with this. If you did, hey, like this, subscribe. And you're always welcome to reach out if you have any questions. Keep smiling.